I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
It's in the night away. It's in the night away.
He drinks a whiskey drink, he drinks a vodka drink, he drinks a lager drink, he drinks a cider drink. He sings the songs that remind him of the good times. He sings the songs that remind him of the best times.
Oh, Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down.
It's in the night away. It's in the night away.
He drinks a whiskey drink, he drinks a vodka drink, he drinks a lager drink, he drinks a cider drink. He sings the songs that remind him of the good times. He sings the songs that remind him of the best times.
Don't cry for me, next door neighbor.
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never g
I do not endorse anything said in this stream.
Though I know I should be wary, still I venture someplace scary. Ghostly haunting, I turn loose. Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice! Beetlejuice!
Welcome everybody now, temporally and in the future. Strike that, reverse it. It is hard. How are we doing, Miss Avalon?
We're fine. We're doing good. Oh my God. I haven't sang that in so long. I was like, shit, I don't know if I'm going to get through this. I haven't been to Ramblings karaoke in weeks.
I
And
kind of
Mary's like-
forgot he existed and everything, and I'm like, wait a second, I remember that name. They've been around for a while. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
is he actually Canadian and stuff? Is he hating on Canadians? And then I'm like, oh,
Mm-mm.
wait, he sounds like a Canadian that happens to ramble a lot. So I'm like, okay. If you're going to say something and you happen to be part of that community, I guess you have the right to say that. And then I saw
Uh-huh.
he wasn't at like over 1,000 subscribers. So I'm like, he must be saying sensible things.
Yes. Yeah, he does.
I'm just saying it's like the inverse clout law. It's like the more consistent and just like sensible and not completely losing your mind about things that are probably unnecessary for drama's sake. You will
Yeah.
still grow, but you're going to have a solid base, but you're not just going to get the
Right.
I
No,
do like the map, but I'm very good at it, so I try not to do it because I don't want to become like the fur. Wait,
right.
did I think I said fur? Totally
did.
not a fur. I'm totally a furry. Well, technically a scaly, but yes,
Yeah.
of course the furry's afraid about becoming an imperial fascist.
right.
I'm trying to
Or-
avoid that outcome, but it's looking more and more likely. It makes me very sad.
Does it? I'm sorry.
I don't. We're breaking the multiverse. All I know is the screenshot to this thing is the world on the back of a turtle.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Because we can. No. All I know is at least Professor Stephen Wolfram. We all know.
World exists on the top of a giant turtle.
I'm not sure experimental or observational evidence has yet to prove that. But if we are computationally equivalent, it's basically like at one point when the 3-hour live stream with Lex Friedman, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, you have a rock and it's made of like electrons and stuff. And then you have you. You're made of electrons and stuff.
right.
Technically computationally equivalent, we're just in different forms. And we tend to get angrier.
Well,
Then again, rocks probably have feelings too. They tend to be hard, but they can still crumble and melt. We're all
well,
wavy
it's
particles.
it depends. Does everything have energy or not? If it has energy, maybe so. If it doesn't, if it's dead, then okay. But I don't know.
This is a very interesting question. That's also something that I've asked the professor. I'm not sure if he's addressed it yet, but I
Okay.
asked, are stars alive? How does one define that? Because at
Wow.
least growing up, I kind of remember something. It's like, all right, well, something is born, it can achieve
Mhm.
homeostasis and reproduce
Okay.
typically, and then it has the end of its life. I'm like, that describes a lot of human beings, and that also describes a lot of stars.
And what did he say? I mean, did you ask him yet, or are you going to ask
Oh,
him?
I asked him, but I think it's one of those philosophical questions that it really comes down to, as former President Bill Clinton said, your definition of is.
oh my God. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, it's not an untrue statement. I dislike being deceived and lied to. That bothers me. I think we just
Mhm.
need to be more straight with people, but unfortunately, and again, Arwyn, I'm curious your take on this.
Okay.
Ooh, hello, rabbit. I apologize. The hair. It's the hair. We need more ginger representation. We're apparently endangered. Yes, I'm all micro
Yeah.
ginger in my beard, but all I know is with everything going on, I
Mhm.
I forgot what we were talking about. Too many drugs.
Stars being
Oh
alive
yeah.
is
Right,
yeah.
right. Because well, star, it's like, all right, you get a whole bunch of hot mass together and everything. It whirls
Mhm.
gravitationally, eventually start getting fusion, bada boom, you get a star, and then you get systems,
Right.
and then that's kind of how we kind of got around here. Because there was light, and that helped create us, in my opinion, according to my friend Jen's hypothesis. Um,
Okay.
but you look at that, I'm like, all right, you got a star, and then it achieves
Okay.
homeostasis. So it can consume
Okay.
things. If it's consuming more hot gas and everything, it's probably going to grow. All I know is when I
Fair.
was a youngin', I ate a lot of things, and I tended to grow to a certain size. Now that
Okay.
size may change over time as energy, as you were saying, is expended.
Right.
But then again, it's like, well, star, if it hits a supernova or something, it flings mass and stuff out there into the universe that eventually gets clumped together and makes other stuff and things and other stars. So I'm like, okay, it reproduces, it
I
kind
was
of has a
yeah.
death. It reminds me kind of a praying mantis. Apparently, the male praying mantis, after copulating, usually ends up dying because apparently the lady praying mantis bites his head off and consumes him for sustenance. I guess it's the circle of life.
oh God, that's grim, but yeah, that happens.
I mean, nature
Okay.
can be brutal. I mean, if a star reproduces basically in a gigantic explosion, well, you don't really have the star anymore. Well, maybe you get a neutron star or maybe
Mhm.
a black hole or something like that, which is
Yeah.
very fascinating. It's very fascinating, and I feel like I have so much unearned knowledge from just
Oh,
utilizing
God. Who doesn't?
cruising the out. What I'm saying, Arwyn, is what do these algorithms do? Like, what your base thought, like,
Mhm.
okay, let me back up. You think stars are
Okay.
alive?
Okay. Yeah.
Are stars alive?
Are they alive?
Oh,
Well, they're
let's see.
born and they die, right? I
Yeah.
mean, aren't they? So,
I was gonna say we have Emmy-winning journalist Matt Rogers in the chat. Matt, if you want to come up, oh, well, we got Manta Ray. Here's what we're gonna do, because I should be wary, but at this point, I really don't care. We're gonna pop the link in the chat for a little while. So, Matt, if you want to come up, Manta Ray, I'm not sure if you have a mic or anything, but we're just shooting
yeah.
BS in the breeze, if you would, because I was going to do a stream critical about certain folks and other things and everything, and I'm like, oh, look, hey, Arwyn's here. Arwyn is fun. Okay, let's talk about more uplifting things, some philosophical things. I'm just sitting here, I'm like, okay. So, base gut reaction, are stars alive?
Okay, just like instinct, I'd say yes, they are. That's now maybe that is the romantic in me thinking, like I said, they're created, they exist, they die. So yeah. Now, are we talking sentient alive or just existing alive?
This is where we get very complicated, because I think that comes down. This is why they say it's the hard problem of consciousness. Now, if you ask, is a star conscious? At least my base reaction is no. And then I think, and I'm like,
Okay.
to be fair, if I was the sun, would I really care what any of humanity is doing right now?
No, you wouldn't. Why would
Yeah,
you?
relatively, I'm a great, gigantic ball of fiery mass.
Right.
Here's my third satellite out.
Right. So why would you?
I'm just saying. These are the things that make me go, oh.
But then again, would a star? I mean, okay. You look at our
There's a
existence.
What's going on, Monterey?
Hello, my friend.
Hi.
What's happening?
Hello, it's nice to meet you, ma'am.
Nice to meet you too.
Arwyn, this is Mana. Mana, this is Arwyn.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm also
We're getting
late to
deep
my
tonight.
introductions for people. I try to be consistent. What's the good word? Okay, Mana, your base reaction. Are stars alive?
Possibly. I've never talked to one, so I don't know now, do I?
Well, is that a different question? Because one could say that maybe a virus is alive, a bacteria is alive. At what point it's like, all right, I talk to my cat all the time, but it's like, does my cat necessarily understand me? It understands me when I have a very particular tone in my voice.
I'm confusing the question. What I should have, they're alive in a sense. I guess I was confusing being alive with sentience. That was my sticking point.
That's how you need to define it. Are we talking
Yes.
sentient life, or are we talking alive as far as, the creation cycle, life, birth, life, death? That's the important.
And I would actually argue that I would say it goes more into the issue of consciousness, because I could even claim that it's like, all right, even if you have maybe like even an amoeba or something, if I start poking at the amoeba or anything, I think it's probably going to react. That kind of seems sentient to me. You could even say that with a plant to a way, because it's like, depending on the sunlight and everything,
Yes.
it's kind of going towards that. I mean, like, and apparently plants like music. I stand by music as magic.
Yeah.
Yes, music does have magic in it.
I agree with that, because different music can completely change your mood, can completely change the space.
Vash, I think about that more than I probably should, because I've heard very smart people I tend to agree with that say No, it's not. That is a more difficult one because it can reproduce in everything, but it doesn't always persist. It has to end up being created in a way, whereas alive tends to think that okay, if you're going to go full on quantum entanglement, everything's entangled. Sure, I will grant you that because we are all connected. But at least on a more concrete level, let's try to separate kind of the holographic plane that we probably live in to at least our current observables. I tend to think no, but I'm unsure on that. Okay, no comment. Hi, Rhea. Well, welcome. You're welcome to join as well. Is the link still in the chat here? I'll put the link again because I like friends. This is the thing. Like I kind of miss this from back in the day because it's like I don't necessarily want to do some things because it's like, what happens? Oh, somebody comes on. Oh, their mic is crap. They're cracking. At this point, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to be a fascist pacifist. If it ain't working, it's like, you know what? Hey, we'll get you settled. We'll get you on at some point or another. Don't hold me to that just because in the back of my mind, it's like, what ends up happening if I did happen to go viral, something like that? All of a sudden, it's like, this is why I tend to be consistently bad with my chats because I assume that if I happen to grow to a certain point, I'm going to be bad anyway. So then that's why you need to broker out management and everything. And I don't want to silence people because I just keep whatever the generic YouTube thing is. It's like, all right, we generally censor out mean words. I'm like, all right, whatever the default is. That's why a lot of times I'll see folks complain, oh my God, YouTube is censoring this and that. I actually do kind of think that maybe some folks are kind of getting shadow banned. Again, I don't necessarily have evidence for this, but kind of seems to be a thing. I think it's correlated with the amount of mean words probably say. Just be honest about it. Just be honest about it. That's my big thing. It's like, because ultimately this is why I end up with, all right, I see what's going on. I don't like it. I don't have a perfect solution. What's my solution? Legalize dueling. Maximum freedom, maximum accountability.
Yes.
Okay. I'm down with that. Definitely.
I get it. It's a bad thing. What am I saying? I'm like saying we should legalize consensual murder. It's a battle of honor, but it's like in its most extreme form. It's like, yes, I'm saying that people should be able to kill people as long as it's done under a legal basis. The terrible thing is it gets bipartisan support. The amount of people that, because I just threw that out there as just kind of like a joke, a little meme, because I was basing it off of I forget who the author was, but basically A Modest Proposal. It was a work out of, I believe, 18th century England. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking. So basically, the author starts off because basically there's like a food shortage going on, and there's a population crisis over in England. So the author starts off by saying, well, in order to address the current situation, using all this beautiful flowery language. And then once you get to a couple pages in, at that point, the author basically solution to the food shortage and the population issue is we should eat babies.
No, it's that the Irish should eat their own children.
Wow.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, it's also
yes,
racist.
Because they saw the Irish as subhuman. Really throws a whole wrench into that.
Holy crap, that makes even more sense now.
How do they get from point A to point B, though? That's
this explains a lot of the internet, in my opinion.
The English thought back then.
Wow.
What is the solution? Well, we don't like these people, so we need to get rid of them somehow. Here's a logical way. I mean, we're just promoting cannibalism here. I mean,
pretty much.
It's literally, that and the terrible thing is if folks hate people enough, they're willing to do some terrible things. A lot of the worst things in history seem to have been done for the greater good. That's why we should be wary of the greater good.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh man. But no, it's all right. You came in here, right? Oh my God, I'm just realizing what he said. It's like, I popped it at the wrong time. What were we just talking about? Oh, eating children. Yeah, that's probably a bad point to come in there. It was satire, but unfortunately, sometimes satire becomes reality. Not in that case, but in my opinion, for the legalization of dueling in these United States. I'm like, I see a lot of folks that hate each other, and very often it's like, all right, you look at it and it's like, you only got like so many people that are very active on social media. You get that increasing, and you tend to see who's really active in people in things that are more salacious. Well, typically about 8% on either end. So basically, you got your standard like 84, 85% of folks just kind of in the middle, maybe following a standard distribution, if you would. and it's usually the edges that are interacting. I saw a guy from like what was it, the New York Times. He was giving a presentation down at the Harvard Club. Went down there a few years ago, and you look at this diagram of interactions on Twitter, and it's like, all right, this is red and blue corresponding with more right and more left. You look at the interactions, it's only on the fringes there. I'm like, all right, if these people hate each other and they're drawing everyone else into these things that they wouldn't necessarily even really care about, I'm like, well, again, I would prefer a transcendental event. I would love the skies to open up and everyone to sing kumbaya. I would love to be a pacifist, but that's why I got to start with a moniker of a fascist, because if you spend enough time on the internet at all, you're going to get called a fascist. So let's just accept that and go with it. Get that out of the way. And actually, it's like, what's the one group of people that everyone hates? The assholes. Just maximize accountability for this. Right now, we're promoting it because the more salacious, the more over the top, the more hateful, mean words you spout out against those that we don't like, you're going to get more engagement. Wait, what's the response? You make more money. Of course, it's going to perpetuate itself. I'm like, let people do that.
Okay.
But if they want to say terrible things and be unwilling to apologize, because that's also an issue. We all say stupid things. This is why I try to apologize for things that maybe I didn't even do. Just because it's like, you never know when that might come back.
Apologize.
Well, this is the thing. You just head it off. Whereas it's like, all right, you're going to say all these things. Now, again, it's consent. Consent matters. I just happen to say that, well, if they have consenting adults that hate each other so much that they cannot get over that, I say we should let them engage in mortal combat under the doctrine of bodily autonomy. It's your body, your choice. If you want to go with it, and again, it's bipartisan support. And since we live in a civilized society, we're going to have dueling contracts. You're going to have insurance and everything, so lawyers and accountants also make money.
Jesus. Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
It's interesting.
I'm a big, thick boy, so I am very much in favor of dueling. I could take many blows, many piercings and bullets, and still be able to crush my opponent fairly easily. So, yes, I'm with you on the dueling.
On a mountain, I like it.
Yes.
Okay, that brings up an interesting question, though. Would the opponents have to be of equal size? Or is this just like, it doesn't matter if they both agree, let them go at it?
Well, here's the thing. It would be like a standard contract. Basically, someone would say something or do something. It goes beyond the pale.
Okay.
Somebody would ask for an apology. They're unwilling to apologize. That person can then demand satisfaction, challenge them to a duel. Now, the person does not need to elect the duel, but here's the thing. We all know that nobody would ever present themselves as a grand or glorious leader to lead a community of people to the promised land and not be willing to basically have their ass cash the checks that their mouth writes.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you don't accept, you're branded a coward. That's
while we all know the internet always forgets when people don't back up their words.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
You just let the internet take over. The internet has a very interesting way of finding the truth of what happens, because people can always spin it. But the thing is, if you're going to present yourself as one way and you're not willing to back it, basically, I try to boil it down to, it's like, all right, it basically comes down to, it's like, all right, if you truly believe this, it separates the true believers from the talkers. Because it ultimately comes down to, it's like, ultimately, potentially, what you're willing to die for. And I think if we actually had that system in place, rather than people just putting all the dank memes out there to try to incite everyone else to kind of, not saying do their work for them, but in a lot of ways just do their dirty work for them, get everyone else to do it. It's like, well, are you willing to do it yourself? Dude, I even noticed this, like, what was it, in like Tim Pool's comments? Like early January, freaking at one point, one of the people that have been like demonetized or anything that it was well known is in the chat. It's like, well, people need to fight for their freedom, blah, blah, blah. And somebody comments below, so are you going to be there? No response.
Yeah. I mean, look, it does. Something like that boils down to when you say something, are you willing to put everything on the line for that, or is that just lip service?
Mm.
What are you willing? Because you think about like with the Revolutionary War, and you think of the people who were involved in that. I mean, they were deemed traitors. If they were caught, they were going to lose everything. They were going to lose their lives. Their family was going to be left destitute. But you know what? They meant it. When they said, we are willing to give everything for just the chance to live free and not be beholden to a crown, they meant it. So how much more, having lived like this, how much more should we be willing to mean it today? And do we? Or are we just lip service?
Well, nobody would ever virtue signal on the internet.
Oh, no, of course not. Shudder the thought. Nope. Not at all.
I mean, it's not like that we've literally reduced talk to being so cheap where it's almost just normalized that you must do it at least this way in order to try to get any attention. And so, of course, the people that's going to say it loudest and the craziest is going to get the most attention. Why? Well, because people want senpai to notice.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like you want that attention. It's like, what was it? Even Miss Mellons brought up the other day. It's like, what was it? Somebody was hating on, was it Taylor Swift or something, ex-boyfriend or something, because they now realize this song was meant about him or something like that, allegedly. And they're saying, oh, I want you to like end yourself or something. And then he just picked on a comment. He's like, do you really want me to do this? Is like, and then they're like, oh no, I don't actually want to, blah blah. And I saw like an article come out either like People or freaking like a science magazine or something the other day. It's like how we've literally just the ability to just collectively fight for just X, just insert whatever X is there is now the pastime.
Some people virtue signal. The method I usually use is to try and say something outrageous, and oftentimes I've been able to achieve what I'm trying to achieve, which is to see if I can grab attention. It's a bit of a hobby for me.
Yeah.
It's not really about virtue signaling. It's about, can I say something in such a way to elicit a reaction? My motivations are different.
You spend time. You just kind of want to get the gears turning and everything. And it's like, all right, I might not always agree with it, but at least there's a level of creativity there where, depending on your particular experience, it's like it kind of cranks some things in the brain. You're like, huh. Well, I mean, you're putting effort into it. That's the thing. I believe in the concept of the noble troll. It's like, get people to think, and even if you're going to say
I prefer the term gentleman troll, actually.
No.
Gentleman troll?
I ain't gonna preach to you. I ain't gonna preach to you.
That's your service.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, you're creative. My thing is, even dude, I've experienced even with people that I've seen like saying very hateful things. I'm like, can you be a better troll? And I still saw mean things, but it was more creative. They were spending more effort into it.
You can't just start slinging racial, expletives. It's can you say something without going completely over the line? It's an art, and it's entertaining.
It is an art. It is an art. If you can actually, troll someone in a way that triggers them, but gets them to think about why they're triggered, that's a talent. Anybody can go out and just be an ass and just troll and be an ass. But if you're able to do that in a way, like I said, that kind of, oh my God, someone gets like upset, but then they stop and think about why they're upset and they do a little self-reflection, that's a gift. Now that is a troll, a good troll, not just an ass troll.
It is. It's more about just getting them to pay attention for a second and having the, satisfaction. I am the man who got Razorfish to scream "Boogie is not a lich" on stream. That was a good day.
Boogie is a lich?
Because everyone keeps saying "Rip Boogie," so in order for him to keep coming back, he's a lich.
Can he shoot those like blasts of like hyper dust like in Heroes of Might and Magic 2? Because those liches, especially like the Lich King, Dude, they did AoE range damage. They didn't have a lot of HP. They were fairly brittle, but dude, they could F up your opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get to at least level 20 to even get to Lichdom, so I would assume so, yeah.
This is why I like you. This is why I like you. Just 'cause
see,
you
I
just,
tried,
you
man,
literally
I tried.
swapped universes. You literally
Make
swapped
people
universes
think.
on me. It took me a moment, and then I'm like, oh, thank you.
Exactly.
You made-
Arch
you made me
wizard.
think.
This is the thing, and a lot of times, a lot of folks won't get it because maybe they don't have that association or anything. But I love those Easter eggs because I'll come across like something from like I don't know 9 years ago, and there's a reference there, and I'm like, I love it, I love it, and that's who it was for. That's why I'll just say random things. Well, a lot of times because I'm also lazy, but at the same time, it's like things come out. It's like, all right, nobody here might get that. Maybe when I'm long dead and everything. At some point, maybe in the future, in 1,000 years, if we manage to not obliterate ourselves, some internet archaeologist will come across and be
Yeah.
like, oh, maybe 2021 wasn't all about twerking and frickin' rage bait. Huh.
Yes. And I gotta
I
say,
agree.
seeing as this is like the first time I've actually been able to talk to you, memes, I very much enjoy your style of just like deadpan, the way you go into streams and you just sort of burst through. You know what I mean? Like you'll say something like innocuous and completely unrelated to whatever they're saying. On your highlights.
I'm not necessarily saying that I do
It's a
that.
thing of beauty.
I
what
mean,
I mean.
I try. No, thank you, man.
Deadpan,
Thank you,
that's
man.
what I'm
I
trying to say.
This is the thing because it's kind of like I attempt to do what like Arwyn was saying and everything because like I'll say things on stream and be like, oh, nobody would ever take anything out of context or anything like that. It's like number one, yeah, of course I can clip that and everything, and number two, just even for that moment there, it's like well, rule to the internet, and the internet is forever, so it's gonna be out there
Yes.
somewhere, even if I don't have access to it or anything. So it's like, all right, cool, those were words that were said. And especially if over time I have a minimal amount of things that I said that were untrue. That's the thing. So I might make a broad statement. Very often I speak hyperbolically. So in a particular context, I might be completely wrong. Now, was I referring to that context? Or I don't know. Have either of you ever had this experience? Because this is essentially how I kind of go about it. When we were younger and like cordless phones were a thing, like, oh no, corded phones. Like, did you ever like on the phone having a conversation with somebody would come up to you and they start talking to you, and then you'd literally say something to both people that would work?
Once or twice, yes.
That is how I try to go about things.
Yeah. Okay.
Or at least that's a function somewhere in my head. Especially rather than, well, that's the thing. It's like you can go on, you can get outraged and be like, "Can you believe what this brother said about me and everything? Let me tell you about this." And you can go straight up Hogan or Savage or something like that. Part of the inspiration for this freaking whole get up.
Yeah.
I miss the Macho Man, but dude,
I
all I know is
know.
like, dude, this was actually inspired to one of the first WWF before they got the F out events back in like the 90s or something. And it was kind of like it was in a local auditorium. They had probably maybe like 3,000 or so people there, and we were up on like the second level, and there was a guy sitting like 2 seats in front of us, and he had a very bright orange shirt on that said Juice on it, and he had a bandana on, and he would just get up occasionally throughout the entire like show and be like, "Oh, yeah, he sounded exactly like the Macho Man," and he was so loud. And just given the shape of the auditorium and that it wasn't too big, he reverberated. At one point, there were thousands of people chanting, "Juice, Juice, Juice," and that meme stuck with me. And this is where we are.
I can respect that.
That is some line from point A to point B. But
all I'm saying is, based upon everything that we've had right now,
Don't stick it. Bring it.
that's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Scott Hall.
Yes. And his glorious fanny pack, may he rest in peace.
Wait, no, did Scott Hall die? Oh.
Wasn't he a major pill popper? I assume his heart stopped long ago.
Wait, no,
I don't know.
No. That's why you just worried me right there, because that's basically what everyone thought. Because I remember, what was it? I think Kevin Nash was shooting on when the Macho Man ended up passing away. Because at one point, his wife like got this look on her face or something, and he's like, "Oh no, is it Scott?" And apparently, that's
What
where time
happened?
well,
Mhm.
well, it's his good buddy and everything, and he knows his buddy may have had a bit of a history with some substances and everything. So it's like that's where your mind goes to, and just happened to be someone else. I mean, it's a tough and grueling
Yeah.
business.
Oh yeah, they're like thoroughbred racehorses, man. They don't got a long lifespan.
I look at it, and it's like I can slowly start to understand to an extent, because just over like the past year of like working in a warehouse and literally just being like lifting things up and putting them down, like
Yeah.
I'll be straight up. That is not a safe space. Like when you're reaching for like a wholesaler case of cans that's on the back of the pallet, and you're climbing up on things, and you almost got like 500,
Yeah.
800 pounds of cans that almost fall on you and everything. Like,
Ah.
dude, it
Yeah.
heightens your reaction time. You got freaking guys going around on electric pallet jacks flying around. It's like some guy had his like foot like completely smashed off into a bajillion pieces
Oh
and
my
stuff because he got caught between the jack and the metal thing. Dude, it can be
Oh.
very dangerous. But like I feel like you start to grow accustomed to it, because what was it like the other day? I was picking some case up, and it wasn't all that heavy, but it's like I'm reaching for it. All of a sudden, like something just kind of falls. It's like a couple inches from my head. It's like, whoa. I'm like, did I just do that? It's like my base response from having done it so long, just a combination of muscle memory, in my opinion, probably also microtubules, and just also kind of getting in the zone, listening to a lot of anime music at the time. I'm like, is this how you start to train Ultra Instinct? Just your body just because like I was thinking about something else, but it's like all of a sudden it's like there is a threat to you. Something's about to hit you in the head. It's like you catch it because like I'm used to something with that level of mass. I understand what it takes, and it's just like I don't know. I felt very proud of myself. I say this, I'm gonna get KO'd by I think at Kansas this upcoming week.
You
Very
I
busy.
fear to ask this, but I know you're in mass. Please tell me you're not working in Bezos's death mines.
I can neither confirm nor deny this.
Oh God, man. Oof. Oof. Get into a trade, my man. That's what I'm trying to do. I work at a truck stop. It's not as bad, but it's still pretty hairy. Let's put it this way: garbage bag full of human piss. Enough said.
We ran across that when I did facilities. Actually, mostly we had a separate housekeeping department as well, and dude, those people are freaking champions. Just especially if you're dealing with like additional needs folks.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah. Well, we had YDC overflow and stuff like
No,
that.
man. I used to work in a nursing home. We had a psych ward there.
Oh
Ugh.
wow.
Living dead. Living dead.
Oh really?
No. Well, here's the thing. It's like, especially with any type of potential mental illness or something like
Mhm.
that, it's like there is a very broad spectrum and everything. And some folks
Yes,
you might
there
not
is.
know, and then other
Yes,
folks,
there
it's
is.
like literally you're a 19-year-old kid built like an FSU linebacker, but you got the mind of a 2-year-old. You might be the friendliest person in the world, giving you all these big hugs and everything, and then just like 2 minutes later, all of a sudden you might go into something where it seems like you're like the Incredible Hulk, and you don't know what's going on. You're pounding on like the safety door and everything. You're hurting
Yeah.
yourself and everything. So you just get more angry and everything. And you don't know what's necessarily going on. And just that's why it's an extremely tough business. It is extremely high turnover rate. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually why I burned out with
That's
that
true.
this year. Then again, I was working also like 7 days a week, and that just kind of fried me like a pork chop.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I put the fires out. You made them worse. Worse? Or better?
I was hovering over and you said something about burning out, so it just felt appropriate.
It worked. It worked.
But all I know is somehow we managed to get from basically are stars alive and reproducing across this universe? Are they potentially conscious? To having a discussion about mental health. Welcome to the memes of destruction. I actually need to start channeling my channel. This is the thing. It's like it bothers me because I went to school for business, but conducting my own business, I feel so terrible about it because I'm like, I feel like I have such an unfair advantage because like I learned this stuff, a lot of the stuff I know, but I'm like, I don't necessarily just want to do it because I know it works. That seems wrong.
Well, I mean, you could do what those rich assholes on those, main cabin shows do. Do something that works, make a lot of money, and then once you have enough, do something you want to do. That's what they're doing. They're LARPing effectively.
I mean, I've kind of done that anyway because I've had a lot of also unearned success as well. But this is also one of the reasons why I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. It's like,
Good for you.
That happened. Well, this is the thing, and this is one of the reasons why it's like, once you have money, it's always much easier to make money, and that just seems so incredibly unfair. In that, like, if you're learning real estate, it's like, oh, once you have like this and this, if you sell this something family loan, you could like avoid all taxes and everything. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, that doesn't seem fair at all.
But some of it though, okay, some of it may seem unfair, but some of it is having that money sometimes takes away the pressure and the risk. And it sets up, for some people, it sets up a confidence that maybe someone who doesn't have that money, that the person who has it, they're like, okay, they can go ahead and take those ventures because they don't have as much to lose.
They have the room to screw up.
That's it. They have that room, and that could give them in a way a sense of confidence because they don't really have to worry about it. Where someone who's investing everything that they have into something, if it screws up,
you're going to lower your risk tolerance. No, I mean, you just essentially described the essence of just the entire financial industry right there.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's why do you think everything is the way it is right now? Because people want to avoid risk. They want to maximize the amount of money they have with as little risk exposure as possible. So I'm like,
agreement.
Of course the system is going to stay the way it is because my thing is, I ain't got nothing wrong with people making a butt ton of money. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, this is like in America, you should be able to do that. But at the same point,
sounds nice.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think the system needs to necessarily seem as unforgiving as it is. Like, my thing is, as long as somebody's trying to bust their butt, trying to do a good job and everything, like, if you can do that, it's like, you should be able to afford certain things. You might not be able to afford all the fanciest things in the world, but with the amount of resources we have, the potential, it's like to have like the homeless problem you see, all this, and I realize there are drug issues and everything, but then again, it's like, all right, we have an extraordinarily complex system. Do we just think just doing this one thing, because the internet has always told us this just one thing will fix everything? I don't think it's that simple.
No.
I think you need to do a number of things in a particular sequence and try to account for all these different factors. Now, that's an incredibly difficult thing to do, and that's also one of the reasons why we've had like dispersed government over certain localities, because to try to manage millions upon millions of people over millions of miles and everything like that, it's like that seems pretty difficult to do. So maybe we should keep it more local and everything as well. But I'm just
that's what I'm planning on doing.
Yeah, dude, power to you, man.
Definitely.
Gonna try and get a farm, then go down south and try and take over Mammoth Cave. Because why wouldn't I?
I cannot condone your sacking of any government or personally owned properties.
Well, I mean,
stop you.
No, and I mean, obviously, for the purposes of this video, that was a joke. What is it? Humor, satire, critique.
I apologize. This is what happens when you have a dad as a lawyer and you realize you don't get away with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
No.
This is, no. Okay. Well, this is also the reason why I did the whole hyperbolic internet thing. It's like, all right, I explored hyperbolic reality with that, which, as far as I could see, Dude Man has solved modern field theory, and I'm like, I think I can actually start to picture in my mind, in the roughest of gauges, what our universe might actually be. That boggles my mind. And then I did the hyperbolic internet, because anything that's said on the internet, you should take it as both literally and hyperbolic at the same time. And which one is it? I think that depends upon the observer. Because, I mean, we've all seen it. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop rambling. I need you all to take over when I put this out here. It's like, all right, have you ever seen somebody, like, you have a friend and they're complaining about, let's say, another friend, and like, can you believe they said or did this? And you take a look at what was said, and it's often out of context. And then if you happen to have some more context, you're like, I think they actually meant this. Any experiences?
Yes.
That's just humans being human, man.
Yeah.
We're monkeys. That's what we do. We gossip. Sad but true. I've lived long enough to accept that truth. Sad as it is.
Is the internet the world's largest interactive soap opera?
The internet is the world's largest circle jerk.
I agree with both those statements. I agree
Things
with both
tend to
those
come full circle. It's universal circle number 10.
Yeah,
I did a video on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a question for both of you. What you just said, memes. Have either of you ever tried DMT or any hallucinogens?
I smoked half a stock once.
Well, you're not
Didn't-
getting the full
didn't-
experience.
No. It was mostly just, I think, as a base for maybe some opium.
A long time ago, I did half a hit of acid. Long time.
Okay. Well, acid's a meta reprogrammer. Well, if either of you ever, DMT, mushrooms, shit like that, talk to me again about the nature of the universe. Because after that, shit gets a lot weirder. Or have a near-death experience.
Really?
That'll make you question stuff.
No. Oh, that reminds me. It was like 20 years ago this month that I should have been dead. I was in like 100+ mile per hour car accident in my buddy's Porsche. Well, actually, now that you mention this, now I'm not sure if this counts, but I remember my buddy had just gotten a Grand Sport powered Camaro. So basically, it had like the Grand Sport Corvette engine in and everything. And he just got it that day. And I actually made the joke. I'm like, oh, so and so, he got the Camaro. It's like, oh, you think he's wrecked it yet? I'm like, I give it 8 hours. So about 10.5 hours later, we were outside a Blockbuster because our friends worked at Blockbuster when that was a thing at the time. And we were talking and everything. And I was getting ready to get back. My two buddies, they were discussing, it's like, well, whose car is faster? Because one had just gotten the Camaro and the other had a Porsche 951 Turbo. It was a souped up 944. It was a beautiful car. But all I know is I was getting ready to get back into the Camaro. And my Greek buddy, he was like, hop in with me. I apologize for my racism. It doesn't matter, but I've been telling the story so long, and he's totally Greek. But all I know is he's like, hop in with me. So I hopped in with him. And we happened to go down to a particular area, and there happened to be a fairly straight open place. And then we started the drag race, and I'm sitting shotgun on the Porsche. We're cruising along. We're probably going like maybe like 100 miles per hour or so. And then at one point, we're going around a little bit of a corner. And it recently snowed, so there's a little bit of sand and stuff on the ground. So I'm not sure if the Camaro nudged us.
No.
Or we started to spin out. We were doing 360s and everything. And all I remember in there at the time, I'm like, I hope we don't wreck the car. I hope we don't wreck the car. I'm like, and after a couple of loops around, I'm like, maybe we'll make it. And then we hit a telephone pole. However, in the Porsche, we hit the back of the car, and it was a mid-engine mounted car, so it absorbed the vast majority of the shockwave there.
Wow.
So I ended up being fine, and all of a sudden it's like I look at the hood, there's smoke coming out of it. I'm like, the car is on fire. The car is on fire. And my buddy, he's like, big 360-pound Greek kid. I see his butt flying out the driver's side window faster than I'd ever seen him move before. And I'm like, I undo my seat buckle. I try to open the car door. The door is pinched shut. I try to put down the window that was still like fully glassinated and everything. And it's like, it won't go down. I'm like, I can't get out. I'm like, I don't think it matters anymore after I see him pop out. So I knock out the window. I do a barrel roll onto the ground. And like, where's our buddy and everything? We're like, oh my God, is he in the river? So we run across. He ended up hitting a tree. And like, we come out to him. He's hanging out the window and everything. Are you all right? He starts responding. I'm like, oh, wait, no, don't move. Dude, this was early cell phones. I shared a cell phone with my father. And I called 911. And like, we were so lucky. The hospital was literally 90 seconds away. Like within like less than 2 minutes, there was an ambulance there. They saved his life. And upon reflection, the A pillar of that car was probably about, I don't know, maybe like 10, 16 inches from where my buddy's head was. Had I gotten back into the passenger seat of that car, I would have been decapitated. Only my buddy inviting me into his Porsche is the only reason we're having this conversation right now. So, and again, maybe things would have gone differently, but all I know is in my head, had that scenario gone the other way, I wouldn't be here. And that's just kind of been with me for a while, 20 years now.
Something like that would stick with you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I mean, I'm totally down to do some mushrooms legally, of course, because apparently it's been taxed in
Oh yes,
certain
legally.
areas. I mean, my okay. The thing that bothers me is I've been seeing these reports from like all these different places. Like this might help with PTSD. This might help with PTSD. I'm like, we got a lot of soldiers and stuff that have that. Apparently, there's a lot of other folks that have it for a number of different reasons. We're becoming better at diagnosing, actually dealing with mental health. I'm like, if we have like natural solutions that Mother Earth has given us, do we need all these like pharmaceutical, like psychotropic components and everything? Again, I'm not a doctor. Maybe we do need all these fancy drugs. I don't know. What are your opinions? These just general opinions.
Well, I don't know if you've ever read any of McKenna's or Leary's research saying that, DMT with psychotherapy can actually be used to help with said traumatic events. So I would say that would be more useful in the case of PTSD. Probably.
I agree.
I studied McKenna quite a lot when I was a younger man. Though I've never done any hard drugs besides weed, to be honest with you. He was a fascinating fellow.
I see you there, Ziggy. What's going on, my friend? Dude, I've had some good conversations with Ziggy.
I
need to hop back
know.
on the Discord.
If weed was legal in all 50 states, and I'm in Georgia, and it'll probably be the last state of the union to ever get legalized because it's Georgia. But I, because I have experienced it before and I do know how it affects my body, I would never take another synthetic pain pill again, ever. Because, of the pain management how that works on me. And I've had discussions with people about that, and they're like, yeah, but you legalize it. It's a one step close to harder drugs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, but you don't understand. It would be pain management. And I mean, great benefits, it makes you feel good, depending on the strain and what have you. But what is better, smoking something that comes out of the ground or pumping yourself with synthetics over and over and over that you can really get addicted to, like, and not, you know what I mean?
I think all drugs should be legal. As long as you're, a legal adult, you should be allowed to do what you want with your own body, as long as you're not hurting someone else.
That's the theory. I mean, that's what people say. My body, my choice. If it's okay for some, and in some instances, why isn't it okay for others?
But I mean, well, here's the thing. If it was just that simple, what would be keeping us from swapping over to that or anything? It's not like anybody would stand by a particular thing just because it was convenient at the time and money. This is here's the thing. Here's the thing. I sit back and I'm like, all right, well, I'm pretty sure wasn't one of the reasons like a lot of these things what became illegal was, at least in the past, because of, I don't know, racism, or at least these were contributing factors that may have gone into it at the time. Wasn't necessarily the sole reason. Probably not. Was it a reason? Yeah.
A
At
component,
least from what I'm hearing.
definitely,
It wasn't
Yeah,
probably.
live at the time,
exactly.
but
A component, a
oh, I see you there,
factor.
Sherry. Oh, welcome, Sherry. Thank you for
Sherry,
joining us.
hey.
Mm.
It's all right. We're getting some traction here. Well, this is the interesting thing, just because it's like you sit back and it's like, okay, I'm sure. My thing is, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a pharmacologist or anything.
Nor am
But
I.
all I know is I hear these stories again. These are personal accounts from people. Is that okay? They might have something. Maybe it works for them. Maybe it doesn't work for them. Maybe they're allergic to it. Okay. You know what? You
Mhm.
move on. But it's like, all right, you get a prescription from one doctor for this, and then you end up having these particular symptoms. So then you get a prescription for another doctor. I'm like, do all these doctors, how the heck are they able to keep up with all these different things? Maybe they put it into a database. Maybe everything is absolutely correct. Maybe there's underlying things that we don't necessarily know about yet. I'm like, okay, well, if we have this, it's like my big thing. If I was going to make a freaking cryptocurrency for humanity, okay, there might be several forms. But my thing is, I'm like, all right, well, if information is power, and you got a bunch of these folks that they're sharing their DNA because it's their consent and they want to do this, rather than having to go through all this, it's like, well, if you want to donate your biological fingerprint to, I don't know, some knowledge of humanity for medicine, why don't you turn that into like a cryptocurrency? It's like, all right, you do this. From everything we derive from this information, you're going to get a cut. I'm basically looking at it, and again, consent matters. But I'm like, all right, if you're going to do like the freedom dividend or whatever that Andrew Yang was proposing, like, how could you do that in a way that actually is fair and makes it? No, here's the
Gang,
thing.
gang.
Do it. Andrew Yang was a nice guy. He gave me a fairly canned response when I asked him about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Oh, you
But,
actually got to talk to him. Huh?
Yeah, no, I interviewed him up in that. Dude, I have a video somewhere, and I have my full beard and just the look on my face without the sunglasses. Like, I swear, if somebody captioned that with "man who's planning to murder Andrew Yang," quote unquote, it's like that would be a very fitting title because I look like a complete psychopath. I also probably am. I can neither confirm nor deny this.
Hey, you and me both, brother. Well, I'm a sociopath. I've never actually killed anyone knowingly, although I'm pretty sure I've killed a few by proxy at my job just by being sick, typhoid Mary style.
Hmm.
I mean, I did work there for like 16 years, so probably coughed on something or someone, and
The sheer fact that you are conscious of that this can torture some people. Because some folks, when they say that sometimes like not knowing about certain things can be bliss, I think that's totally true. Because in your mind, if you're spending the computational power to do that, it's like that takes a great deal of energy. And dude, one of the smartest people I ever met, he happened to be a sociopath as well. Why may this be? I don't know. Was he born with it? Was it a horrific accident while in the military?
maybe it was Maybelline.
I mean, again, I don't want to hate on a product that I can neither confirm nor deny. I don't think I've ever used it. What's Maybelline again? Is that the syrup?
That's the commercial. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's
Maybe it's
Yeah,
Maybelline.
okay.
But I forget what it's for. Is it for a hair thing?
It's hair care.
Conditioner.
It's a conditioner
Yeah.
and a shampoo.
Do they sell it at Target?
Probably yes.
Oh yeah, they sell it everywhere.
Mm.
Is it good?
But it's okay. It's not bad. It's not
Yes.
my favorite, but it's not bad.
And to be fair, you do got to get that hair looking a little more fabulous. You really got cut over the last year, dude. I got to say, I'm proud of you. You went for it. You are looking jacked.
No,
my
I
man.
mean, it's a lot. No, you've been around for a while, and it's like, dude, thank you for that. This is the thing. You need to start doing something. It's like, all right, I got so freaking lazy over a number of years. Why? Well, because I could. And it's just entropy. It's the lowest state. I'm like 80% water. I tend to go the path of least resistance. It makes sense.
Hey, I'm climbing my way out of that hole right now, dude. I get it.
I get it. This is one of the reasons why it's the One Punch Man workout. It's like because the translation for the song is like the tallest mountain started as a stone. Now that's geologically incorrect, but it's a good metaphor. It's a good metaphor. Why? It's like, all right, you got a little rock here and everything, and then you got a mountain and everything. You level up. I love it.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, these are the little things as well. Okay, and when I say I wanted to do my channel, like I was blathering on like a narcissist about 30 minutes ago, I'm saying it's like, all right, I think I'm just going to start doing more of these streams. Just having good folks on and everything, having a little association, maybe having folks on that maybe don't always get an opportunity to talk to certain folks and actually get some networking, because I just keep on finding that, basically just to kind of 20-second short story about how I kind of found the guy that solved modern like physics field theory is our algorithms, basically going back about an hour where we started, was okay, very often the algorithm will lead you to what you're looking for. If you want to be outraged on the internet will lead you to outrage. But for me, I'm like, okay, I started getting to these physics thingies. I saw Eric Weinstein on Joe Rogan. He's like, spinners.
Boy.
They go around twice around the outside. And I'm like, wait a second, Nani? What the heck is that? He's doing this like classical climb model dance and everything. So I'm like, all right. So I start looking into this. So I start watching him. So I'm watching Professor Brian Keating. Shout out to Professor Keating, the Nick Fury of the physics community. And I come across Dr. Stephen Wolfram. I'm like, all right, they're doing Wolfram Physics part. Basically, I loaded up my playlist with so many like Wolfram Physics videos and other physics and math type thingies that I would literally fall asleep to them on low volume and everything. So I think I overloaded my algorithm with that. Eventually on Twitter, I'm like, oh, here's a theoretical physicist that's following Professor Keating. Let me like his stuff. I'm out for a run. And then just one day, it's like, Source Code 7. I'm like, what is this? I was listening, just looking for a stream to follow. It's like, there's a premiere. I'm like, I listened to it. I'm like, if half of what this guy is claiming in this video is true, this is revolutionary. About 16 hours later, they came out with the results of the Muon G2 experiment on April 7th. Dude, man, nailed it. Like, I asked him on Twitter, I'm like, oh, do these results like help your model? He's like, yes. I come home after work. I go back to the video that I was there for, listening to while I was out on a run. I'm looking at the model. I'm looking at the observation. I'm looking at his prediction that came out before they released it. And I'm like, he nailed this. He's derived the Planck constants and the space-time mass temperature and charge of the 17 elementary particles. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? and I'm just like, okay, he happens to be a gentleman that happens to be, until more recently, outside a lot of the broader physics community. And the whole way he derived it was after he was able to calculate, at least he claims, and I will also claim, the fine structure constant. Because he was, somebody on the internet directed him to a conversation that they had noticed. So the internet pointed him in this direction. All right, they calculated to like 5 to 7 significant digits. It's like, that's very interesting. Nobody's running an equation that was that close. And he puts in these things into Wolfram Alpha, and he's like, all right, what if I assumed my equation that I tied this up with was correct? What would be the missing component? And you just have Wolfram Alpha, so it can tell you if you use the right mathematical terms, just put in an unknown, calculate it. Oh, that happens to be the Planck mass. How very interesting. And then basically most everything else kind of started to unfold, because once you actually know something that was a dimensionless constant, like you actually have an equation for that, and you start looking at that equation and you start analyzing it, and you realize that if you start to geometrically decompose this based upon something that we discovered in the 70s, so basically in the past 50 years that just happened to be part of knot theory and topology, something that where it's like, well, in order to derive this, you need to solve the hyperbolic vortex equation. What is that? You're talking about one of the hard problems of turbulence that Professor Wolfram yacked about an hour on. He's like, well, physics kind of just, they punted that one to like the material engineers and stuff, and just figured at some point they'd figure it. I'm like, wait a second. What you're saying is people just punted this down the road and just kind of ignored it because it was very complicated.
Can you blame them?
Everything.
The real question you should be asking yourself, exactly, can it make me money? That's why I'm interested in mushrooms, dude. Seems like a growth field. You're talking about science. Let me ask you, have you ever heard of Paul Stanton?
Is that the dude Stanton University is named after?
No, he's the mushroom guy, the mushroom guru. He did a TED talk a number of years ago. He was also on Joe Rogan about 2-3 years ago. He's like the leading mycologist researcher, made a book the size of a phone book, talking about how to commercially grow mushrooms, fun and profit.
Isn't that good for like space? Because I remember in The Expanse, like if a particular person died, they could request that they get recycled to become mushrooms, so they could feed their own
Well,
people.
I mean, if you wanted to chop some of them up and grind them down, then yes, you could use them for mushroom growing stock.
Does that count as
But,
cannibalism?
sawdust not really, because mushroom is a fungus and people is a people. So
It's different Eigen
yes.
state.
Yes. Point is, theoretical stuff is nice, but well, one, I traded magic for science a long time ago, and two, how can any of this stuff make me money?
Well, any significantly advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
True enough. That's what Crawley's been saying. I've been reading, Lesser Keys of Solomon.
I mean, isn't magic just unexplained science to a
Yes.
degree?
Well, in there, he talks about how demons actually are just parts of the brain, and you're accessing them through the ceremonial rituals. Not that I would use that stuff. You don't truck with demons. That's just, that's basic 101 stuff. Never pay for something you're going to get for free anyways. And living the kind of life I lived, hell's the only place I'm going. So
I resemble that. That's kind of why I'm trying to do what I'm doing. I'm like, all right.
bitch, and I'll see you down there.
It's like, all right, I'm going to hell. I'm like, now, if I were to make an attempt to try to seek penance, how may I go about that? And I, at least very poorly, am attempting to seek penance.
Well, you would have to seek forgiveness and absolution with absolute fate, now wouldn't you? You would have to mean it absolutely in your heart.
It's at first I didn't really, and I'm like, well, what if I just faked it? And then I started to fake it. And no. Well, hear me out. I'm like, I at least started going through the motions, and then I actually did start to feel a resonance, and start to feel more connections. And then at some point, I'm like, holy crap, maybe I actually believe my own bullshit. I'm like, what if my own bullshit? What if I assumed my bullshit was true? Kind of like Thad did with the hyperbolic vortex equation. What is the component that's missing to finish sealing this up? And ultimately, I just keep on coming back to legalizing dueling.
Yes.
That's the only way I really can see to. How do you take the system that's at play and balance it? Because it's incentivized to be imbalanced. It's just it's like the Vorlons versus the Shadows and everything. It's you get everyone caught up, and then at one point you just try to eradicate the other side or something. Sorry.
I actually have an answer to that. Reduce everything down to 0, and then it'll build itself back up again.
But isn't that part of the problem? Okay, why does there have to be perfect balance? If your quest is to have,
well, it's not about perfect balance.
Well, no, hear me out. Okay. Memes keeps going back to this duel to kind of balance everything out. If the quest is to get to that perfect balance, wouldn't that maybe be part of the problem? Why do things always have to be fair and balanced? Why can't we learn to live in a place where maybe things aren't always fair? Maybe things aren't. Can't we make our own damn balance? Why does everything have to be equal? Why can't we find our own personal balance? Isn't that what really is more important? Because if you can find your own balance, then you can live anywhere, and it won't matter.
I agree with you. I think what it comes down to is a range of tolerance. So it's kind of like if you're doing engineering and stuff, you might not have everything be exactly perfect, but it's within a particular tolerance in that it will work for the particular components. And I think that's actually a better way, kind of like what you were saying, is because I thought the same thing. It's like, well, you're never going to have perfection. Why? Well, because none of us are God. That's the thing. It's like God is the epitome of perfection in many religions and everything. Some folks even say, my friend is like, she's like, well, what is God? The universe. I'm like, well, ultimately, if you boil it down to, well, what is God? God is uh, uh, omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. It's like, all right, so basically, you're everywhere, you have all the information, and you persist. I'm like, what is God? I have no
That
idea.
is
The
one
best-
interpretation of what God is. There's also, of course, the ancient idea of the pantheistic gods, basically phenomenon personified into physical forms, Kronos, Mercury, things like that. And then, of course, there's also something you've seen Pete's show from time to time, right? Memes.
Yep.
He's been talking a lot more about the abraxas, the unknowable, the gnosis, which is also another idea of what God is.
my big thing is I kind of view it as, if you're going to take like the physics and sciencey perspective, it's like, all right, you have all this different matter energy. It goes through different eigenstates. What are those? It's going through a morphism. It's kind of like it's morphin time. It's like, all right, you're changing your state, or it's being presented. So I would claim that it's mimetically morphing and everything. Because all I know is, all right, you go back a couple of thousand years. It's like, okay, let us say you're basically trying to explain God or angels or anything, or just beings from the heavens to other folks. So you can say, we came across this via some gravitational distortion using blah, 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 blah. All I know is back several thousand years ago, I don't think we had the Large Hadron Collider and like thousands of years of like scientific notation. I think it was easier to kind of say it's like, all right, angels with chariots from the sky came down and lended us a hand in this battle or something. Or at least that's what people are saying and everything. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know the exact interpretation, but I keep seeing all these different things. And I'm like, even my brother's base reaction when they're starting to say that UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, are actually a thing. He's like, dude, you know me. I'm agnostic as fuck. And he's like, base reaction, I think they're angels. I'm like, I'm not really disagreeing, because it's like, well, what is an angel? It's like, oh, it's a visitor from the heavens, from scriptures thousands of years ago. I'm like, what am I going to say? It's from another planet or anything? If I'm of the mind, it's like, well, if we're probably the center of the universe, what could it be? Some form of a higher dimensional being. What does that mean? I have no idea. But it's just very interesting. And just the more and more I learn about science, I'm just like, the more and more I believe in God, because all I know is the image that I'm getting in my mind of what is actually going on with this universe of stuff and things is so fantastical that, like, I could never have imagined that. It's such a freaking beautiful thing that I'm like, what is God? God is the one. I haven't got a
It
better
makes you
answer.
think. I mean, it does. I know there's a lot of ideologies out there that science and God can't coexist. And I'm like, but why? When you look at,
When you start discussing metaphysics, it's like, what are
yeah,
you going
Now
to
you're
say?
getting over the other side of the bell curve there.
exactly.
Well,
They can.
definition of what is. This is the thing, and this is why very often I feel like this is why I'm doing modern mimetic theory, because I'm like, and part of this is so beautiful, just because you might have seen MC on my channel before. I see you there, killing each other. We're talking metaphysics at this point. We've talked about a number of different things. It's been a very interesting chat, but what I'm saying is, all right, very often, I think a lot of the arguments we have, somebody might disagree. What is the exact percentage of that disagreement? It's like, okay, I very barely tangentially agree. I wouldn't really talk about this, or I disagree extraordinarily strongly. This is a very important thing to me. Very often, someone's going to fall along that very broad spectrum there. Now, when people actually engage in arguing, is it because they are truly passionate about that, or they just tangentially disagree and they just don't like that person? So they're going to use it as a mimetic coupling. See, I stole MC's initials there. So it's a mimetic coupling. So if they're coupling upon it, using the mimetic tensors there to lock horns and argue about it, are they really arguing about that? One person might be, but the other person might just be trying to like grind their gears, if you would. I'm just saying that acknowledging that happens. I think we just came full circle there, Mana.
I mean, my goal is more to lead those down the path of ruin, the left-hand
You're honest
path.
about it.
Yeah, I'm a vile tempter. That's what I do. That's part of what I do.
I see you there,
I
Phil.
also do things for my own enjoyment.
Well, this is why I say it's like, why do people do things on the internet? Because we can.
I mean, doing things for your own enjoyment isn't necessarily a bad thing. It depends on if that begins to infringe on somebody else's enjoyment. You know? And now
When
you
I
may
say-
take a totally
Subjective,
different
so, yeah.
you may take a totally different tack on that. I don't know, because I don't know what you consider your enjoyment threshold being. But these are
It's only
these are
part of
things-
it. The two necessarily do not intermesh, but sometimes they do. Though ultimately, my underlying philosophy and rule is you can open the door, but you can't push someone through it. You merely open
Yeah,
it,
That's true.
and if they decide to walk through, then good for you. If not, it was never meant to be.
You simply provide the candy.
Yes.
And if
I do
they
not
buy
push
it,
them
they
into the
buy it.
van.
Yeah.
That's where you're going, right?
Interesting.
It's I was going to
okay.
little piece of candy. Usually it ends up being in a box, because in physics, it usually ends up within a box, we're assuming.
Yes, I am aware of Schrodinger and his magical cat. Good man, good man.
I sit back and I'm like, okay, that was also one of those things, because it's like, at one point, Professor Sean Carroll, who may or may not be, I don't know, I haven't really finished that one, but at one point he's like, no, we don't want to have the cat perish. We're going to use sleeping gas. It's like, a cat can't be awake and asleep at the same time. I'm like, I'm pretty sure anybody that's ever owned a cat for a period of time can say that they've had a cat that's been both asleep and awake at the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, extrapolating that to something much
Yes.
more sad is, I at one point had my buddy's husky Thor, and he ended up dying in my arms. He was a big dog, and he kind of had some heart
Yeah.
problems and stuff. But dude, earlier that day we were supposed to be playing D&D. I saw this dog lie down. He did not seem to be doing well. You saw his stomach distended and everything. This dog
Yep.
literally, he laid on the ground, and I looked at him like, I don't think Thor is breathing. I'm just looking at that. And at some point, like, somebody kind of notices, and like my buddy calls out to his dog, and I swear this dog was, at least from my observation, did not appear to be alive. My buddy called out, and this dog that was absolutely like motionless, I swear he came back. He came back to at least have a moment to say goodbye. At least in my mind, that's what I saw there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, did he flip the position? Is that a superposition? And that's why in my mind, I see some of these things, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
I understand what they're saying, but it's like, I'm not going to push what I believe on necessarily other people and everything. That's not for me.
Oh,
to
you
say.
can't, or they won't listen. All you
Yeah.
can do is try and tempt them, seduce them,
Right.
lead them into your reality tunnel, as my mentor Robert Anton Wilson would say. You know, the intellectual seduces, the authoritarian pushes them down the reality tunnel at the butt of a gun.
Well, why does it have to be either? Why does it have to be force or seduction? Why can't it just be simply an offering, and then you step back, and then they decide what they're going to do?
Because
That is the
sales.
seduction right there. That is
Why is that? But
Seem-
seduction is not just an offering. Seduction takes more work. It takes more passion. It takes more purpose.
I guess so.
When you seduce something or seduce someone, you have a target, you have a focus, and you're honed in on that, and you're working towards that, and you're putting effort and your energy and your time. If you just give somebody an offering, or if you just share knowledge or information, it's like,
I have
here it
given quite a
is.
few people offerings.
And then you step back, and then it's their choice to come up and take that. Which, again, I'm not saying there's a right way or
No,
wrong
you're right.
way.
You're right. Just bear in mind, Wilson, that those are his words, not mine. And he was always an asshole. I loved him, and he saved me
Okay,
from
fair
myself,
enough.
but he
Yeah.
was an asshole. God bless him. Good man.
It's just there's more ways, I think, and I think even with a lot of these discussions, we kind of trap ourselves into a box, and we don't realize there's tons of ways that things can be done, and more than I think we even know, because even as open-minded as some people are, we do tend to box ourselves into even our own beliefs and our own ways of thinking.
Yes,
You know,
we
and
do.
there are ways beyond that that maybe we haven't even thought about.
Well,
call
the
it a
trick is
mimetic
to be
lattice.
able
Sorry.
to get out of whatever box you're in and then
Mhm.
choose another box that's to your own liking. That's what
mean,
I always saw
yeah.
his teachings as. You know, I've gone far beyond. If I ever met him in real life, he died in '07. I think he'd be quite horrified what I've done with his teachings. But I think the ultimate point was to be able to help people see.
Mhm.
Sorry, I realize I was obsessing on that, but yeah, that's the point. Plus, humans are limited by their very nature, so you know we do need
We are.
boundaries, else we go insane. You know?
Yeah, we have to have some definitions and some labels and some fences. We do. Otherwise, like you
Yes.
said, our brains would just, and we wouldn't. I mean, some structure is necessary
Exactly.
just for existence and survival. But I don't know.
hmm So if you're going to have a structure, you should be able to, you know, choose it or pick which structure you want, rather
agree.
than being forced down someone else's, you know, reality tunnel, as he would say. That was his term for it, anyways.
I look a lot of what's going on as it's kind of again borrowing from physics. Just you have these things called a lattice. It's kind of basically kind of like it's like the thing you have in the garden, everything, the side fence that you can have
Yeah.
tomatoes and stuff grow on. It's a lattice. What is it? It's typically a repeating pattern of things. Something a
Mhm.
crystal is a lattice as well. So it's like, all right, our social interactions, you have a lattice. Depending on what particular things are said, I'm like, all right, well, if I make this particular comment about coffee, I know this cute girl likes talking about coffee, so maybe she'll like it. I put it, oh, she liked it. Oh, maybe that's my invitation. Maybe I could message her, slide up in her DMs, and maybe not get completely shut down and everything. It's a mimetic lattice as well. And speaking of
Mhm.
mimetic lattices, as well as some of my favorite turtles, hi, Phil.
Well, hello.
What's going on,
You
brother?
know, turtles all the way down.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, just got done with my stream when I saw you were streaming, so I said, of course, I have to join me in my instruction.
I meant to pop in and multitask and invite you and Tim because at one point I saw Tim was on. I'm like, I invited Tim to the group that I just added you to, and then at the same point I'm like, wait, the link I originally sent there was the same one I sent Arwyn, which apparently was giving everyone a 404 ever because this was originally not a broadcast thing. This was a record only, so I needed to change it. So I assume that changed the way the link kind of worked there as well. So see, science and logic. You can start to deduce things after a while rather than just getting mad and be like, brr, it's broken. I do that.
Well, yeah, it's officially great to be on your channel for the first time. And hey, Arwyn and Mano,
Hey, how are you?
Hello, Phil. Nice to meet you, sir.
nice to meet you too. And I'm great. How about you?
Yeah, pretty good.
Doing great.
This is okay. I am so glad that I did this now. Thank you so much for sliding up in my DMs, Arwyn. Because here's the thing. I'll grind away. I'll see something cool, this and that. And if I just get up here and I can talk about something for myself and everything, just because I just want to put that information out there. So if and when the things that I happen to be saying actually come to fruition, I'll be like, well, rule 2 of the internet. Oh no, he disappeared. We scared him
Aw.
away with my narcissism. I apologize, Phil. But all I know is at some point, regardless of whatever it happens, welcome back, my friend. If I say things and these things end up actually coming to be true, at least they're seated within an algorithm. I at least have been telling myself I'm playing long game here because my algorithm makes no sense at all. If I want to do something, you just pick something and stick with it, which is what I'm probably going to start to do. So I'm just going to use this as a feeder channel. I'll do cool live streams. We'll talk about things. I'll clip them out to the appropriate places. And I also created the Eigen Rangers channel for science things because I like science. I need that Spock clip. But
I gotta sing the Doom song now. Doom, 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 doom.
seemed appropriate.
Indeed.
But what's the good word?
Lunch.
We've just been talking metaphysics, potential ways to save Earth, to save humanity, and our stars alive. What's your base reaction? Phil, is the sun alive?
Wait, what?
Are stars alive? Like the things that go twinkle, twinkle?
Are stars alive?
Yes. I'm not trying to lead you. I'm asking you the question. I apologize.
Are they? Yeah, are they living? I think isn't that way the way it was put? Are they living? Maybe it was the alive. Never mind.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer because I
Yeah.
legitimately don't know. I have my inferences, but just if someone comes up to you and be like, Phil, we're looking up to the sky and be like, you think stars are alive?
Yes.
I agree with you. So in order to get some disagreement, hi, Stephen.
What?
Oh, cool. We got a celebrity in here.
Agreement.
I know. Welcome, Fat Steven Seagal.
Fixing his
Thank
PC.
you for joining us. Oh, he's just here fixing his PC because he had the blue screen and stuff. I apologize. Oh, and here I am putting him on blast. What type of terrible person am I? Well, these things.
now you can hear me.
Oh, it's all right. Here's a momentary
No,
break.
Would you please stop singing?
Proximity warning. Planet ahead.
I love girl. Cupcakes. I love cupcakes.
You're a wee bit low, but other than that, you're fine.
Oh my god. All right. What now? I'm a little bit.
The
low.
gain, my friend. The gain.
Is that better? Wait, hold on. Why is it
You're slowly getting there. Give it like 2 more splotches.
Is that better?
Much better.
Is this
There you-
better?
There you
Sounds
go.
good.
Is that better?
We can hear you now.
Yeah,
It's pretty
Okay.
good.
Is that better?
sounds good.
We can hear you now.
Okay.
He's trying to hit the appropriate level without going over. It's like the Price is Right.
No, what happened was today is we had an update, right? And it didn't work with the cracked version of Windows I had because I didn't have my other disk. I lost it. So it kept causing blue screens about 25 to 30.
Wait a second. Was it Windows 10?
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
I put the fires out. You made them worse. Worse? Or better?
yeah, I don't know. I have never experienced the Windows 10 aside from maybe using like a friend's PC like once or twice, like the homework stuff and
Yeah.
things,
But
philosophy.
at least I get all the shit crap off my computer. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. Hi,
Oh,
Phil.
no, that's all right. I have already done that several times. I do think we have enough.
Pretty sure I've been
profanity
swearing this
to-
whole time.
No, well, I think it's about the distribution of profanity. If you're just popping off all these things like some folks do, I mean, hey, freedom of speech, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's the best monetizable thing. Not that this is monetized, but somebody's making money. Oh, happy. Hi, happy.
Monetization on YouTube these days.
Oh, as
There's
long as they got the
monetization on
bracket.
YouTube.
Oh. That's the one good thing about not being monetized. You're not sitting there worrying, oh my god, am I going to get copyright claim, blah, blah, blah. So I could just play all the most random things. Like, come on and get your log. Everyone needs a log. Come on and get your log. Everyone needs a log. Log from Blammo. I
you were
may get that
chunky.
sponsorship someday.
Look at you. You were so thick back then.
Yeah, you're like a big
Ah,
tub of
memories.
love, I think.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Did you leak gravy?
I
I know I do.
do okay. Hear me out. Anybody that's basically maybe not worked out or kept away from physical activity for a certain period. All I know is when I go back to the gym after not having gone for a while,
Yeah.
I first start sweating and it gets in my eyes. It starts to blind me. It hurts my eyes. I think it's got salt and stuff in it.
That's just
weird.
your body's way of telling you you're getting better. It's encouragement.
Or you ate too many fries.
I mean, it's probably both things as well. There, all I know is
too many fries.
Is that
I've
why
had
they
that
say-
happen before. It's glorious.
But I don't like it. It hurts me eyeballs. They're very sensitive. Is that why they say no pain, no gain? Because you're like sweating off all of
Exactly.
your
Pretty
gravy that you've
much.
eaten. The world
Yeah,
makes more
pretty
sense now. But
That's how you know you're alive, memes.
Yeah, you're not supposed to eat it.
Pain is life.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on here?
See, I will go to the gym, but I don't want to put my brother and my father to shame, so I'm still scrawny.
Oh.
No. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money. Give me money.
Thank you. That also seemed appropriate. Oh, dude, you want to know how bad I am, dude? So at some point, somebody actually started sending me like some like Streamlabs things or whatever the thing was, but I needed to update my PayPal, so I couldn't necessarily see what it was, and I forgot to open my PayPal, and then they returned the money, and I'm like, I didn't even read their message. I need to go back and find out what it was, or at least acknowledge it. Somebody gave me money for doing stuff and things. I'm like, why are you giving me money?
If it's even
like,
still there.
Give me money.
The internet is forever, my friends. That's rule 2.
Yes. Yes, you're right. You're right. I forgot that.
Oh. I can. Oh, we got a regular. We got a little. Oh, look at you. You're looking sharp, man.
No, not bad. Not bad.
You're kind of choppy. It looks like you're on break, my friend. What's going on?
I'm not a few drinks. Taking a break. I already had one here, but beer's pretty strong. So.
You're not on the clock. All right, it's better to be sauced not on the clock. I agree.
Yep.
Forks.
You're coming in. I was gonna say.
I would like to do the Frisky Dingo reference, but that would be a bit disrespectful.
I was fucking with you.
You're a wee bit choppy right now.
Yeah, I was messing with you.
Yes, that's all. Well, Steven as an ass because
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
What the hell, man? You just came here to roast me because of Babylon 5? Is that it? You just roasted me for all Babylon 5s?
Babylon 5 was pretty good until, the last season 4 where they crammed 2 seasons worse into 1. Yeah.
Wasn't that season 5?
Yeah, but
that was season 4. It was.
Yeah, they kind of said everything they needed to say in season 4. They shouldn't have done 5.
Well, that's because then they thought they were only going to get that far. So
they thought they were going to get creamed.
Crammed?
This is why I say we let the maestro do his work. We'll see what happens. All I know is if he actually has a budget and you actually have things like The Expanse finishing up and you get enough talent and everything, let's see what happens with a modern budget and modern special effects. That'd be cool.
Dude, you say that, you just reminded me of something both good and terrible.
Syphilis?
You know Venture Brothers, right?
Continue.
Yes.
Justin Hammer has an Instagram. He's recently posted some pictures of him recording again. They're going to be doing something.
Well, they do have that project coming up that was announced like, what, a month or 2 ago that they're trying to at least get the film put out, at least?
I was drunk when I saw that. I thought I might have hallucinated it.
I apologize, Happy. I'm a terrible scaly. It's all right. It's all right. Well, this is the other thing too. Regardless of whatever the heck people are talking about, some people just want to hang out. Some people just want a little acknowledgement. They just want to feel like they're part of something. Isn't that why the radio was always in cars for a number of years?
There you go.
Hey, that's why I'm here.
That's why I play Fortnite and have a whole lot of people on there, so I have free content and don't have to worry about doing anything. Oh, wait a minute, my speaker getting out. My bad.
Oh, well, it's all right. I resemble that remark as well, but I should do better at it. That's a goal.
I'll let you in a secret. Memes promised to play with us about 8 months ago, and we're still waiting for him to come.
Really? What's the holdup mean?
Look at his face. Look at his face.
What's the holdup?
Too much porn on hard drive.
That is true.
The
Why
last
would you put it
update-
on a hard drive?
Yeah.
Just go to Xhamster or 4chan.
You print it out, bro. You print it out.
You print it? What am I gonna do? Print it on a Polaroid or something? What are you talking about?
No, you just print the thumbnails of each video, so
I
you
print
can
the
just choose
thumbnails.
about.
No, I clip my
You
nails.
can literally make a lot of money just having the index of Pornhub.
I can also just show my feet, which I should totally do. I've been moisturizing.
What kind of moisturizer are you using?
I don't know. Whatever Target has that's cheap.
Oh God, you're using Gorilla Glue?
Should I use Maybelline? Do they have moisturizer?
Actually, they do. You should try it.
Or mayonnaise?
I'm terrified yet intrigued.
Is that how you got sponsorships? You just blatantly virtue signal?
think
Because
Revlon is better,
I
but-
can blatantly virtue signal, and you know what? If it works, it is what it is. And then I can say, maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's me.
Maybe it's Maybelline and mayo.
But here's the thing, I just like saying that, and if it also happens to be beneficial, isn't that how it's supposed to work? Isn't that what one of those ball players said about like the Whopper? It's like, I'm endorsing the Whopper because I like the Whopper. Because he likes big meaty burgers. I do as well. Why does my hair look so big?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's.
I mean, it's pretty
think
big, but it could be bigger.
This is true. It's not people saying 3 big, but I feel like I'm like Londo, except my hair's not standing at attention.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, no.
I feel like I just have floppy hair. It's not being active enough. I think I have some gel somewhere. That's probably a bad idea.
That's weird.
Go on.
See, if you did use Maybelline, you might get more of the Marcus look instead of the Londo look.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm
so
all right
Because
with
your
that.
hair's about that
Wait.
same length.
Wait,
as
so he'll
Marcus.
turn from a broom to a Swiffer?
I'm gonna become a ranger.
What?
I'm just saying, 3 more inches on that hair and you're going to unlock your full potential, dude.
Oh, yes, you go full Saiyan.
Mm.
It's I
Ooh,
Ultra
that's what I'm
instinct like you were talking about, man.
continue talking for a moment.
That'll be your
saying.
that'll be
If
your
he's gonna
awakening.
Come back with his hair gelled up like a weirdo.
Oh my god, no.
You see, he'll come back. He'll be holding like an empty tube of toothpaste, going, "Is this Saiyan enough for you?"
It bleaches your hair. It's got
I
hydrogen
wouldn't say
peroxide.
no.
What kind of toothpaste are you drinking?
Wait, you drink toothpaste?
Well, hopefully Tom's, so that's the best
Shouldn't.
one.
You shouldn't drink toothpaste.
Oh,
I
you
used
do.
to
It's
eat
a
gum.
mixer with vodka.
Yeah, no, just
It's
as long as it's Tom's, that stuff is organic.
Don't
okay
judge
if
me.
it's that, but I'm talking about like regular toothpaste has got like crap in it that's not really good for you.
And
I
brushing
mean,
my
yeah,
teeth
it
with
cleans your
crap?
teeth. Yeah, it's like regular toothpaste.
I like the one with the 3 colors. Like that's
Three colors.
Aquafresh, right? Aquafresh?
yeah, that is just horrible diabolical alchemy right there.
It kind of is.
It
Oh my
it's
God.
unnatural in the truest sense.
Wait,
If
wait,
he's
wait.
dressed
When-
like Fred Flintstone, I'm out.
Hey, don't hate on Son Goku. Don't hate on my Kame house.
Why would I?
Because I like Halloween.
Yeah, but
Oh
why would
God, I
hate on
miss Halloween.
Because you like Halloween.
What? No, I'm saying I was Saiyans before.
Is that you, memes? Is that you from behind that I'm seeing?
That is me from behind.
Glorious.
You look like a toothbrush.
I was I'd been working out around that time. That is also correct. Yes. That was all. I wanted to virtue signal more. We were talking about like fancy hair and stuff. Although that was a wig. I mean, it's very hard to tell from the darker hair underneath.
I never would have known.
I had an inkling.
You look at Project Sigma as well as Stone Cold, as well as a Titan, a Uranus, as well. Happy, I still see you there. I still see you there. We notice you, scaly friend. How are we doing? I can.
All right, is that better?
That is much better.
Come
Hold
on,
hold
Barbie, let's go party. Sorry.
I think Ken can sing that whole song.
He's like, I've
You're
heard
all
that
young
joke.
ones.
That's totally the first time I heard that one. Completely. First time ever.
Come
Fucking
on,
ever.
Barbie, let's go party.
Okay, well, not that voice.
Dude, all I know is I completely love
Asmer,
it.
let's go party.
Dude, we have folks from like the greater spiritual communities. We have folks from like some of the psychedelic communities, the scummer communities, the fandom communities, as well as the turtle communities.
What about the
Because-
Crisco community? What is this?
Hey,
Turtles
we
are
got
important.
We got the Crisco thing as well.
It's turtles all the way down.
Computation
So,
equivalent.
So I went out. I'm still out, obviously, but I went out after work and had a beer. And then I was like, all right, so I'm gonna go to the next bar, just have another beer. So that's kind of how I do my rounds, just to be a little bit festive, you know what I mean? And
Well, you go where the people are. If you happen to like the situation, you stick around. If it ain't really your vibe, you just mosey on out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So the reason why I left the second bar without getting something is because the security, she finds like pretty, like I want to say like probably in her 40s. She checks her ID and like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then like as soon as I walk in 2 steps, she pats me on the ass, and I'm like, nope,
Really?
I'm out. Yeah.
Well, you don't
Nope.
want to get tapped on the ass?
Was it a friendly pat or a warning pat?
Was it a finger up the butt?
It was a few pets.
Was she
A what?
cute?
What, Pat?
No.
Was she dressed like the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Oh, is that sexual?
No, it was
harassment?
a cougar situation.
So she wasn't.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It's not. I just felt really weird about it. It's just like he asked for my ID. Like you obviously know I'm over 21 because otherwise you wouldn't have pat me on the ass. You know. So why'd you ask for my
Was she
ID?
stealing your information? Is your door
No.
locked?
Before
Maybe she
did,
I don't know.
before
Maybe she was
she
checking
did
for my ID
this,
to see if it was okay to do that. I don't know.
maybe
I don't look at it at all. But
Before she did this, did she open up with a statement? I am a proctologist. Don't worry.
oh, cool. Well, no, she did not.
Wait,
Obviously.
I thought
Shit.
proctologist went on the inside. I'm not sure if he's licensed
No,
for the
it
outside.
was a few pats.
Did she stifler
It was
you?
a few pats. No,
There's
I
still
got
time.
out as soon as I can. I don't want to be stifled.
Wait, hold on, wait. Did you get patted down by Stifler's mom?
How's got it going on?
Stifler's mom.
Yeah, no.
She's a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Was
well, I
holding
mean,
a
like she
used
was
apple
great
pie?
for what she looked, but I mean, like, I don't know.
Well, that
like,
was mean.
at least fucking know my name before you touch me like that. Fuck.
Yeah,
On my
that's how it
horn.
works.
Mm.
Yes,
So
fine,
wait. This was just a random ass pat? Some random woman just patted your butt?
Well, no, she was playing a security guard to check IDs before you into the bar. So I handed her my ID to
Wait,
verify.
you didn't
And
know
it was like 3 to 4 pats. Like, okay, you're good to go in, and then pats me on the butt. I'm like, what the fuck? You know?
So what you're saying is the door gal checked your ID and then patted you on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
Are we memeing ourselves into oblivion?
Yes.
I mean, we don't want to be
Without
sexist.
question.
I mean, like, I'm not like upset about it, but it was just like,
It was
okay,
surprising.
well, I'm out.
You
I
weren't
didn't make a scene
expecting
about it, so I just kind of like walked around for a second. And just
I mean, I get it.
but
Was she frisking you or patting you on the ass? I'm
Are you
sorry.
sure
there's
you
a
weren't?
difference.
Are you sure you weren't at an airport and it was the TFSA agent?
There is a difference. I'm sorry.
Maybe just didn't want the trouble, you
no,
know?
look.
He
hold
just
on,
went
hold on.
said the
They offer
sloth.
you a
No
lollipop.
thanks.
Did they
I
offer you
choose
a-
life.
Did
So
they
go look
offer
at
you a
this, right?
lollipop?
So this is where I go. This is where I go. Go ahead and maximize me. This is where I go.
Dude, I can't write yet. He's not here. Oh, he is here.
Enhance.
Were you singing "Come On, Barbie, Let's Go Party"?
I mean, ha 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 ha.
Oh wait, I get it. You're saying it because it's Ken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. Really?
I thought you were just no. Ken has been working out and everything. He's looking trim. I'm like, all right, I could call him a Ken. Oh, okay, I get it now. Nope, continue.
So this is where I go out. whenever I do. There's about, I want to say like a half a dozen bars around here. So if I
Was
go
she
and just
blind?
sit down there, is where that happened. She was blind, yeah.
She was blind?
No. What? Oh.
What? Who? Esmer?
But yeah.
Even stop being mean to Ken.
I'm not being mean.
You need at least to wait
The
another 2
chaos
minutes.
is expanding.
You are being very mean.
Glorious.
I'm not being mean.
You're being very mean.
Known for
Feelings
being
hurt.
mean.
Memes hurt?
I'm
Very
hurt.
mean.
I'm just
Wait. Hey, if I was mean, like,
I'm
why'd you
upset.
go? If I was mean, I'd be like, why did he go full Kibblesmith just at that moment?
Well, this is the thing. No, Ken wasn't in a situation. He felt, oh God, Arwyn, I thought you were putting a cat against your face for a second. You're
No, it's my man. It's my
One day it will be the cat. It'll be like, this feels weird.
No, because it looked like kind of like a cat. You know, they'll arch their back and go.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how does she manipulate the cat? It looks like it's a 2D surface.
No.
I'm watching a lot of physics videos. I
They're
think
not
we
in
should
the room.
But,
activity.
Either way, I thought I'd stop by and say hi to you guys. What?
Are you okay though? Are you emotionally secure?
Oh yeah, of course I am.
All right, good.
Yeah, I've worked at plenty of bars, or I have like about 2 years of experience working at a bar, so I know how things work.
Yeah,
So-
I worked in nightclubs and bars. So I know what it's like. My favorite is finding other people's hidden stuff in the couches afterwards.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
does
at least it
sound
wasn't the
fun.
guy doing it this time. What?
I've had that. I've also had them try to slip their number in my pocket. I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
Look, I've been dry humped by a coworker at least once.
Do you work at a?
I think everybody is.
No, that was when I was at a restaurant.
I'm pretty sure.
Did you give consent?
Did you work at a kennel?
I did no. Why would I give? All I showed was my ID. I didn't give any consent.
Oh,
Were you wearing a thong and bent over because you dropped your ID?
that does not
This is where-
constitute consent.
Those were wild times.
Where'd he
I have
go?
to admit.
I'm so confused.
We scared him away.
I am
Just
bad at
like-
social. I assume that he was walking around a corner and mobile reception.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
joking.
I'm not being mean. I'm a nice guy.
I'm not.
You are, but I still need to nag you for it.
I'm not being mean.
Oh,
Oh,
you.
yeah, nice work.
Oh God! Wait, I don't even know what's going on here now. Why are my genitals confused?
That avatar just okay. It confuses me too.
I
Phil
mean,
comes-
it's
Phil
a
comes
part
back.
of its hamster. Let's
Phil
not
comes
lie.
back in and he's looking at the boobs. He sees the face and he forgets he's on camera and his face.
Phil, I
He's
feel
like,
the
I
same
gotta
way.
cover the face. Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say I come back, I come out for a second, then come back in, and then I see a man with a woman's body.
Bam.
Life does not make any sense anymore.
no. See, this is why you
got
need the
really
pronouns and
pretty
everything, because you
hair.
have to know how to refer. You're a little confused, so it helps clarify. Because we all know it's totally not an OG thing to list, like, I don't know, your age, sex, or location or anything there. It's not like we've been doing that for decades already. See, I always just assumed it was for, like, when you're reading, like, smutty porn to just kind of, like, know who's involved.
I gotta get a new office.
Just
chair
for, like,
get off
tags and
this
labels
floor.
and stuff. I don't know. I'm very debaucherous. Uh-oh. We're losing it. We're losing it. Oh, we've also been going for almost
There you
2
go.
hours.
I got one better for you, Mames.
Oh, what the hell?
Oh, you touch my tra-la-la.
What do we got?
Oh my god!
낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자
I've never
Thank
seen
you.
that one.
Thank you. Yeah, where are you? Is this the right reel? Okay, there we go. I didn't
Oh,
want
that
to
was
feel. I
scary.
there were 2 of you there, and I'm like, wait, which one is it? All right,
Shout out.
Now Phil has the right-
Shout out.
Phil has
Thank you
the-
for
Phil has
pronouncing
the
it
right face
correctly.
now. Phil has the right face now. It's that cringe look with the twisted lip, and he's
Like,
He's like, oh god, these are the people I associate with. Where's my cat?
I'm sorry. Here, was this better? You prefer this?
Oh,
Yeah, that works too. Not bad.
I have a goatee.
That
Is
one's
that
not
Tobey
quite as
Maguire?
weird.
There you
It is weird. I have a
Yay.
goatee. And
Oh,
I know. I mean, it's weird. I didn't say it wasn't weird. It's just was quite as
oh,
weird.
look, Phil's pussy's on stage.
I miss my
Hey.
cat.
It's an orange
Looks
cat.
very soft.
Does it taste like chicken?
Kitty.
It probably eats chicken.
Oh,
When you marinate a cat, do
pretty
you use
girl.
barbecue sauce or honey garlic?
Stop. Ew.
Yeah, I'm not serious.
No, but
We use jerk
I
sauce.
still want to know the answer. so
You're
no.
getting ready to pull
know.
fascism on you. I like
Use
that.
teriyaki.
Yeah, teriyaki is a good one, especially with the chopstick.
Everybody knows that.
Can you egg roll it?
Aso sauce. See, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of pork chops, but my old roommate, he chefed it up with some aso sauce, and it was freaking delicious.
That
I'm not
stuff is
talking about
pretty
cats
good.
anymore.
So, Phil, how's your life on the internet going? How's your days been? You having a good time?
Yeah, I'm having a good time. I mean,
I'm not a cop. I'm just asking.
I'm having a real
Phil,
good
Phil
time.
had a stream earlier. He had Kylo on. I mean, Tim.
Oh.
I had a stream earlier. Kylo Tim was my first guest ever I had on the channel, so that was good.
He never had me as a guest. Oh my god, I feel so offended.
Yeah,
because
I
I'm such
need
a celebrity.
I need to bring you onto my channel. You, Lorena, memes, everyone on this panel, and then
And just do it up.
Oh, be careful what you wish for.
You gotta be careful because you never know what could happen on the internet.
Though I know I should be wary, still I venture someplace scary.
We don't need the whole thing.
Is Mana just sitting in the dark and his camera's on, or what's going on here? I'm still trying to figure this out.
Oh, even better. I use nail polish to blot out my my camera's my tablet's camera. See? This light on, light off, light on, light off.
That is
I am
actually
the
very
noble, sir. I am that which lurks.
So you're a Darkwing Duck?
No, I'm Gwenadar. Come on, man.
You're not Launchpad McQuack?
That's fair. Well, see, I am the terror that faps in the night.
Oprah?
Yes.
What? No, dude. I'm so glad I was able to scoop Oprah. That is basically one of my crowning achievements. And like once that works come out and everything, and he's on Oprah explaining it things, I'm like, all right. I was one of the early dudes to help interview this lovable, eccentric hipster that literally helped solve for a lot of modern physics. I'm like, these are the reasons why I'm like, okay, I could just say completely over the top crazy things, or I could still say over the top crazy things, but come at it from the most loving place possible. I'm just saying. Well, we'll see. Here's the thing, Titan. That all I remember is what was it like 8-9 years ago? You see this interview, and they have a picture of like Mark Zuckerberg, and he's sitting there with his MacBook that looks conspicuously kind of like the MacBook that's right in front of me. And you see this little thing covering his camera, and I sit back and I'm like, this CEO of one of the largest social media companies happens to have something over his camera. I wonder if there happens to be something to that. And again, could just be hardware mistakes, user error, or anything. I did it at one point. I was hiding my anonymity, and then all of a sudden I realized I've made so many mistakes I could find myself. So if somebody really wants to know, and then I got to the point where I'm like, all right, let me just take this off. If all of my friends in all the different three-letter agencies want to have me watching me while I'm watching all my crazy porn and stuff, power to them. To each their own.
Oh, we're all being watched.
Oh, we're all
But
connected.
that doesn't mean I want any of you to see what I look like. I'm hideous.
I put a private chat link in for whoever's wondering about the Venture Brothers movie.
Oh. I really am torn on whether I want to see that or not. Part of me just wants it to stay dead. But the other part of me...
Metalocalypse is getting something.
Well, this is the thing. You watch if you want to. Like what you like. You don't gotta. It's not like you have to say this particular thing, do this particular thing because other people are. Because then you're just being I don't know, just another square in the lattice.
Yeah.
I'm just torn, is all I'm saying.
Oh, that's illogical as well. And I'm arguing for the sake of arguing because that's what we do on the internet.
I guess as long as they have complete control. The people who, made it, it doesn't switch hands is what I'm saying.
Complete control. Who does that anymore?
They did until they got axed. That's why it took them
We can
1,000
Joel
years
shut the
per
2020
season.
thing.
They also did. They also drew it all by hand. Let's not forget that.
And they were all self-funded for the most part. But that's what happens when you deal with Comstar. They're gonna fuck you in the ass eventually.
I don't know. I've never been down that road, but thanks for pointing that out.
Just remember, pay your bills, fucko.
Did
We're
you
Comstar.
say?
You have no choice.
Fucko, what is this shit?
Hold on, wait.
That's
We were talking.
that's a BPL reference.
I know. Just being weird.
It's Comstar.
Now,
pay your bills.
To cycle things around to another loop there, we were talking about stars reproducing earlier, and we did you say Comstar?
Comstar.
Oh,
you
that's
have
a
no
telecom-
choice.
That's a telecom company, isn't it?
Battletech.
Oh, Mech Warrior. Dude, Mech Warrior 2 Mercenaries was freaking amazing. I loved it. I was totally.
It is great.
Was it the Wolfie thingy? Oh
I miss BattleTech.
The Timberwolf?
75. Yes. The the jump jets, the missiles on the thing. 75-ton mech.
The Wildcat.
The catapults. The awesome.
The Wildcat. Yeah.
Oh,
The
Wildcat.
catapult's like 65.
The Mad Cat.
Yes, thank you, Mad Cat.
Dual shoulder cannons. It had the dual arms. It looked close to Ed 109, and it was the closest thing you were going to get in Mech Warrior at the time.
Yes.
You also had the Atlas, very slow moving, but very powerful, especially with the chest cannons.
In Karinsky's name.
Dude, if you got the Firefly, the little mini mech, if you loaded up with enough jump jets and machine guns, you could fly around the field so fast because you were so light. If you used machine guns, you wouldn't have all the heat built up. If you had 14 of them on, you could take out like the leg of an assault mech before you ran out of ammo.
Mercenaries was the prime. The
And
first
we cannot forget, of course, the living meme, the Irby. Do not Kirby the Irby.
Wait, what?
The urban mech. Irby, the urban mech. Walking trash can.
I don't. It's not in my head. I'm just going to Daishi because I'm like assault mech. Roar.
I don't know. I think the Atlas has the most class, personally. You know,
I didn't like its handling. It was just too.
It was clunky as hell. It was like a Jaeger before a Jaeger.
Yeah, true.
Pacific Rim, if anyone gets what I'm talking about.
Dude, all I know is, speaking of giant robots, frickin' Miss Mellons kicked my butt at the frickin' Japanese Gundam style game at the little Miko setup. I'm like, oh my god, there's a Japanese game. I have no idea how the controls work because everything's written in like Japanese symbols and everything. And you use giant robots and everything, and then she kept kicking my butt. She was better than me. These things happen.
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
I'm I'm a bit jealous you met Saki Melons before I did, memes. I'm a bit jealous of you.
We've had her
that movie is aged like wine. It's amazing.
Can't confirm. I ain't got anything else. We've been going on for 2 hours. I'm perfectly happy. I'm getting kind of tired and hangry. So.
All right.
That's all I got. Anyone else? How about this? Let's go through our little thingy. I'll try to link your channels and everything. So we have Amos Arwyn Avalon. Thank you so much for joining me in the nick of time. Your thingy is already in the doobly-doo below.
Thank you.
I'll come bother you sometime. I'm a talker, so.
Well, do. God, I don't even know what the hell I have planned this week. I'll put it up on Monday on my Twitter. It's about as good as I'll get. But yeah.
Alrighty then.
God.
Monterey. Do you have anything to share with the class?
Yeah. Check out the Black Pants Legion on YouTube and check out their podcast on wherever podcasts are available. They're a bunch of good guys and they love having fun.
All right.
Steven!
Oh dear. Well, that was brought to us by Mono the Mad. Thank you, sir. Mr. Fat Steven Seagal. Let the folks know about yourself.
You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitch. You can use that creator code in the Epic Store. whenever you purchase stuff. I do Babylon 5s, and Meme sometimes shows up never on time. He's the Mumberry of our circle.
Well, I mean, these some things are just these things happen. Bill.
Well, you can find me on YouTube, on Twitter, as this name right here. That's a plus. Yeah.
All right then. Well, thank you so much for that, Phil. And thank you all for joining us now and temporally in the future. And we all must remember that no matter what happens.
How do you know if any of this stuff is true? How do you know someone didn't just make it up?
What? You mean just lie? You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
I just mean that some of the details...
Whoa, I never thought of that. This is terrible. What if none of it's true? What if they're all lying? How would we ever know?
Have you guys checked out the Memes of Destruction's channel? He's an interesting dude. I like him.